All right. Good evening, everybody. Super excited to be here tonight and talk to you about something that absolutely changed my family's life over the course of the last 8 years. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody real quick. All right, we should be good to go there. And, when I heard this information 8 years ago, it was a friend of ours, Nikki Elsing, a dietitian at the Heart Hospital here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And my wife and I, Michelle, we knew that Nikki wouldn't bring just anything to us. And, being a dietitian, she was always brought stuff to her attention. And most of the time when she would look into it, there really wasn't the science that would back up what the people were reporting that it should actually do. And so this was something that absolutely shocked her. If you haven't already seen it, there's an ABC primetime investigative report that you've got to watch. So get back with the person that invited you on here tonight if you haven't seen it yet. And I'm going to pick up kind of from where that left off, because one of the things that shocked Michelle and I when we saw that ABC primetime video, first of all, was that it ended positive. Right? Bad news sells much better than good news. And that ABC investigative report, that expose, actually turned out all positive for LifeVantage. And, when they came in there, they weren't looking to have it turn out like it did. They're trying to poke holes in what the company was claiming. And at the end of the video, it shows that the blood levels and the oxidative stress was reduced by 45%. On John Quinones by taking LifeVantage's flagship product, Protandim. And so that's really where this all started back then in 2005 with this ABC primetime video. And from there, where did it go? Where do we kind of see it today? And where do we see it headed? That's really what we want to talk to you tonight about. And I would just say, if anything else, be open-minded to the information that you're hearing tonight, because it can absolutely change everything for you. When we first got involved with this, we weren't getting involved to do another business. We saw on the medical side something that was earth-shattering, that was groundbreaking. And our journey, my wife and I, we had a lot of stuff that was going on with her, and we were trying to uncover different ways that we could live more healthy lives. And the biggest problem for us was we just weren't experts in the subject. And so there was a lot of exploration and trying to figure out. And as good as the medical world is, for what my wife was dealing with, they could rule out a lot of what it wasn't, but they couldn't tell us what she was facing. And so over the course of the last 8 years, we've seen her health absolutely transform before her eyes. But on the other side of it too, we were opened up to a business opportunity that we never thought we were looking for. And that also changed everything that we had going on in our lives. So I'll share some slides here with you real quick now. And I just want to bring you up to speed what happened after that ABC primetime video aired, because it did end up all positive, and people, they wanted to get their hands on the product to see what it could do inside their own bodies. And that's really where all of this intrigue and this interest started. And not only the people that saw the video, but it was also universities and institutions from around the world that wanted to discover how big of a deal this actually was. And it's not the products themselves that I think is the miracle here. It's really getting the body back in balance to do what God intended it to do, to unlock that pharmacy that each one of us has inside of our own bodies. Now, my background is in the financial realm. After graduate school, I got my security licenses, later went on to manage the defaulted student loan portfolio for Citigroup, and I also did a lot of corporate treasury for them as well. So I understood business. I understood, money and portfolio management, stocks and stuff like that. So when this got brought to us, it being a publicly traded company honestly blew my mind. Back then, it wasn't on the NASDAQ like it is today. It was actually what I would refer to as a pink sheet stock or over the counter, and since has moved to the NASDAQ. But what that meant to me was there was transparency behind the company and their reporting because of the SEC and their requirements of being a publicly traded company. And I'll tell you, 8 years ago, when I first looked at the financials, the first comment I made to Michelle was, I don't know how they'll open their doors next month, let alone next year. But it's a completely different story today, where we're now approaching $250 million company that is traded on the NASDAQ. So if this is such a big deal, why doesn't everybody know about it, and what happened to it after that ABC Primetime Investigative Report? Well, it was marketing gold to have that, but the problem was when it sat on the shelves of like GNC and CVS and Rite Aid, nobody knew what it was. And even fast forward from 2005 to 2019, people aren't walking into GNC even today and asking for something that's going to reduce oxidative stress inside their body. It has a story that has to be told even today. And so it sat on the shelves of places like GNC and CVS and sold less than a bottle per store per month. They switched from the retail to direct sales in 2009. And I think it was as a direct result of in 2005, 2007, and also in 2009, they were struggling financially. And they kept having a bunch of private money dumped in to keep the doors open in exchange for stock options and warrants. But the problem is you can only do that so long. And I think as a last-ditch effort, they brought in somebody that had the suggestion to turn it into network marketing. It wasn't a network marketing company that was trying to push products in there. It was an amazing product from the beginning. They just had to find the proper sales channel for it to flourish. And so hesitantly, the board of directors and McCord, those people, they decided to try out network marketing compared to the retail channels because it just wasn't selling, if it's only selling less than one bottle per store per month. And so when they made that switch, within the first 6 months, it completely outsold what they were doing in the traditional retail channels. And again, that's because a story needed to be told on why this was so important for people to integrate into their health strategy. And it real quickly went to a $10 million company, and then, over 100 million to 200 million. And like I said, we're approaching this fiscal year, we're going to probably approach that $250 million worth of sales. But let's get back to really why this is even important to you. What is oxidative stress and why you should care about it? Well, oxidative stress is something that we can't avoid. There's free radicals that are floating around and inundating all of our cells all the time. And we get it just from basic function, for living, from breathing. We also get it from microwaves, our cell phones, herbicides, pesticides. I live here in South Dakota, and I don't know about where you're at, but the wind blows. So even though I'm in a city of 200,000 people, I know that from the farmland around us, there's still a lot of stuff that's floating around in the air that we're breathing in that's having a negative impact on our body. From the gasoline that you pump, just pollution, even exercising can increase the oxidative stress that's in your body. The best example I can have, the finance guy kind of giving you the breakdown on this, is that apple on the left. If you took that apple and you cut it in half and you left it on a table, what's going to happen over the course of an hour or 2 hours or a couple of days? Right? The apple's going to turn brown. The cells are going to start to degrade. They're going to start to break down. And that's exactly what's happening on the inside of our bodies and our cells. We just have a much longer shelf life than an apple, but it's the same principles. So if you leave it unchecked, what's the problem with having oxidative stress occur inside the body? Well, look at the right side there. Pretty much every single disease state that we know, at the root cause of what's going on, starts with free radical damage and oxidative stress. Look at the heart problems there: hypertension, skin problems, psoriasis, kidney problems, joint problems, lungs like asthma, COPD, allergies, cancer, brain problems like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, OCD, ADHD, autism, cancer again. You guys, I'm sure that any one of those you can pinpoint people that you know that are affected with some of those problems. The immune system breaks down, blood vessel problems, other organ problems, eye problems. We brought this to our eye doctor and we asked her, we said, is oxidative stress bad for your eyes? And she said, absolutely. Pretty much all the disease states they deal with, the root cause again is oxidative stress. So if you understand that, really how can you avoid it, or how can you help your body overcome what's already going on? Well, that's what the researchers that saw that ABC Primetime Investigative Report, they wanted to understand. If we can activate different pathways in the body, do we have the potential to get to the root cause of some of these disease states and help people's health? And places like the American Heart Association published research that was done, Louisiana State University, Ohio State. On the right-hand side, you can see more universities, but also some big pharmaceutical companies like GlaxoSmith, Abbott, Biogen. You guys, they understood, the pharmaceutical companies, that if they could unlock these keys, that they were sitting on blockbuster drugs. They were sitting on gold mines. And those were some of the questions that we asked ourselves in 2011 when we first heard this information. And we started to look at different drugs that were through the approval process. And one of them being a drug, back then it was called BG12. It's now has FDA approval and is a good drug for MS. And when Biogen, when they funded research that compared it head-to-head against protandim, they actually found that protandim was more potent at activating this pathway in the body. And the conclusion of that study was actually that it might be a better suited therapy for MS. And that isn't our company saying that. And it's not a drug. None of our products are drugs, so we can't say it treats, prevents, cures, mitigates any kind of disease state. But I'm telling you, the research out there, when you start looking at it, is unbelievable. And you can actually go to a site from the federal government, pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, and you can look up the research that's out there. First of all, I would type in oxidative stress, and you're going to see hundreds of thousands of studies that have been done on oxidative stress. And then you can type in different disease states that are important to you. Maybe it's skin cancer or heart problems, ADHD, autism, things like that. When you put that in there with oxidative stress, you're going to start to see there's a correlation there. And then type in protandim, and you're going to see the dozens of studies that have actually been published and peer-reviewed that are out there, and they're not all done by our company. All these outside institutions were actually wanting to understand how this pathway worked, and specifically with our flagship product, protandim, how it could help reduce oxidative stress in the body. So when we talk about oxidative stress, typically what people had heard about in the past were antioxidants. And antioxidants, you know, these superfoods, blueberries, acai berries, things like that, they're really good for your health. I'm not saying don't take these things, your fruits and vegetables, but what I'm saying is they aren't great at reducing oxidative stress. They work on a 1-to-1 ratio. So one molecule of blueberry getting in the body is only going to have a direct impact on one free radical that's floating around, knocking the cells and damaging the cells. So a 1-to-1 ratio. Our own body's enzymes, though, on the other hand, that are activated through a pathway called NRF2 actually work on a ratio of 1,000,000 to 1. And when we were starting to understand this concept, what we're being explained to was basically, if you imagine a house fire that's raging and you walk over and you take a Dixie cup of water and you throw it on the house fire, what's going to happen? Right? Not very much. You might hear it hiss as the water goes onto the fire, but that's about it. It's not going to extinguish anything. And they said activating your own body's enzyme is like turning on a fire hose in every single part of that home. And it's the same thing within our cells, that we're activating these pathways in the body to turn on those fire hoses in every single cell that we have to work on that 1,000,000 to 1 ratio. So that's the important thing here to understand. Now, back in February of 2015, Washington State University, they actually did a review article on all the literature, all the research that was out there at that point in time on NRF2, this pathway. And this is what they came to as part of that review, is that NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. You guys, even if that was half true, that's an incredible statement for somebody to make. And it isn't about, you know, our products or our company. This was just looking at all the literature that's out there on NRF2. And I can tell you, from what I've seen, and I've studied this a ton, we still are to date the #1 activator of this pathway in the body, nutraceutically or pharmaceutically. There is not anything else out there that we're aware of in the marketplace that can activate these master regulators of detoxification the way that protandim NRF2 does. It's absolutely crazy. So the benefits of getting this introduced into your health strategy is that it's going to combat that cellular stress through NRF2 activation. And again, it's the only supplement proven in a clinical study to reduce oxidative stress an average of 40% in 30 days. And it's going to help regulate your body's survival genes. So it's going to upregulate the good things, but it's also going to downregulate things like inflammation and fibrosis. And we actually have several patents that the government allowed us to protect the product with because of what it has been shown to do in the exact ratio of the natural products that are inside of Protanum. In this ratio, it does something very specific. And that intrigued me as a business guy because, you know, if I'm doing a business, I don't want to see generic versions of it popping up onto the shelves anytime soon. But what really intrigued me was I knew that you couldn't patent just natural plant-based things. And the reason that we were able to get patents on these products again is because in the ratio that these ingredients are, it's been clinically proven to do something very, very unique that nobody else can make the claim of, and that's reducing oxidative stress an average of 40% in 30 days. Now, from there, the company, they continued to do research and they continued to reinvent how we treat our health strategies. And I think we're having this huge swing as a population, as a society, away from drugs when we can and away from reactive medicine. We're trying to get into a proactive state of taking care of our health. And mitochondria health is super important too. And what the company was looking at was how can they increase the health of the mitochondria and also how many of them are in the cells. Now, again, I'm a finance guy, but what I remember from school about mitochondria is it is the powerhouse of the cells. It's really the food energy that gets turned into cellular energy, right? And so if your mitochondria are bad and you start to have mitochondria dysfunction, what does that lead to, right? We talked about the problems of oxidative stress, but what's the problems of mitochondria dysfunction? Well, look again on the right, epilepsy, and we're talking about cardiomyopathy, autism again, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, things like that, again, that nobody wants to deal with as they age. What we're talking about is improving the quality of life that people have. And so there was another pathway that they discovered called NRF1 that when activated could actually improve the health of the mitochondria and the quantity of mitochondria into the cells. And so LifeVantage, seeing that research, they wanted to see if there were natural ways to increase this pathway in the body as well. And so that's when this product was born, Protanum NRF1. And it increases that cellular energy inside of the body in the ATP. It's going to improve performance through energy production, improving sleep. Everybody wants quality sleep because of the energy that you're going to get from it and the cellular repair. And it slows the cellular aging process by supporting chromosome integrity. These are powerful 1-2 punches that we can integrate into our health strategy so that we can improve, again, the quality of life that we're living. Now, think of these things as kind of like car engines, right? Well, if you had your car running outside and it's just idling, is there going to be exhaust? Absolutely. And that's kind of like the cells that we have. When they're just running normally, right, you're going to have some exhaust that comes in. And if we really heighten that up or boost that up like NRF1 and put our hammer down, our foot down on the pedal, what's going to happen to the exhaust? Well, just like your car's engine and the exhaust pipe, it's going to create more exhaust. And so we have to have a good way to clean that up. And that's why this is such a powerful 1-2 punch with NRF2, is because NRF1 is going to increase that energy, but NRF2 is going to allow the cells to get that toxic burden taken care of and cleaned up properly. So I love these products together. Now, in addition to that, a couple of years ago, we came out with a probiotic. And I didn't honestly know a ton about probiotics. They were very popular back then. They're getting more popular today. But I didn't understand how important gut health is with your overall immune health. And what we found was that if your gut health isn't healthy, then your overall immune health isn't going to be well as well. And most probiotics, what I found was that when they're sitting on the shelves of a store, most of them aren't shelf stable. And so by the time you get that bacteria into your intestinal tract where it needs to be, if the product isn't shelf stable instead to begin with, it doesn't do you any good. And a lot of these that even were a little bit shelf stable, when they hit the stomach acid, they were getting killed by the stomach acid and still not making it inside the intestinal tract. So the survival rate of most probiotics is less than 4%. Well, this probiotic, it actually has a special patented technology called BioTrack, which allows it to remain shelf stable and allows it to make it through the stomach acid into the intestinal tract where it's supposed to be released, and that's where the healthy bacteria needs to start to flourish to improve your gut health. And again, you can see on the right the problems associated when your gut isn't healthy, what the outcome is going to be eventually on your body. And the last product that I really want to highlight here with those other three I just talked about is the Omega, the natural fish oil that we have. And I remember being young and taking cod liver oil pills and that nasty kind of aftertaste. And what we were being told over and over again was if you have that kind of bad aftertaste with a fish oil, most of the time that's indicative of a rancid oil. So you can't tell me that that's going to improve your health by putting rancid fish oil into your body. So again, we have a way that we can get this into your body where it's getting in there at a point in time that it's still good oil, and it actually is increasing the overall brain health, cardiovascular health, skin health, immune system, all of that by this Omega product. So it's traceable from boat to bottle, which I think is extremely important because if I'm putting products into my body, I also want to understand what they're doing for me. This one's actually added with vitamin D as well, which here when we live in South Dakota, there's a lot of months that we don't see much sun, so that added vitamin D I love as well too. So those four products that I just talked about, NRF2, Protandim NRF1, the probiotic, and this Omega Plus, together, we combine those into what we call the Vitality Stack, you guys. And for $5 a day, you can integrate this into your health strategy to really transform your overall health and to get your body, again, working like it was designed to work. In addition to that, after the research started coming out, remember that slide that I showed you with the different universities? Well, Louisiana State University, they had done some research on skin cancer, and they found that there was a connection between, or a correlation between NRF2 activation and melanoma. And so the research got back to the company and they developed a topical formula. And then they enhanced that to create an entire skincare regimen that's really protecting you from the outside in. Protandim NRF2 is going to help you from the inside out. And this NRF2 activating skincare line is going to help you from the outside in. Before and afters, I think, tell way more than anything that I could ever show you. So get back with the person that introduced this to you and ask them to show you some of the before and afters. We have one on the screen right now where you can see from day 1 to day 61, the absolute tremendous change that happened in this lady's life when she introduced this NRF2 strategy from the outside in. Axial. This honestly is one of my favorite products that we have besides the flagship product NRF2. And when we first came out with it, I wasn't super excited that we were coming out with an energy drink. But what I know now is this isn't an energy drink. It's really brain food. It's going to unlock your brain's potential with smart energy and doing it the right way. And I have on the screen there some before and afters with a child's handwriting before Protandim and Axial. And you can kind of use this as an analogy for your brain. How often do we go through the day where we're kind of scattered and we're not focused and it's just kind of hazy and not put together? And look at that handwriting. You can see on the left there that that's kind of like that, descriptive of that. And then after 2 weeks with introducing this child to Protandim and Axial, look at the difference in how organized and tight and neat it is compared to what it was 2 weeks earlier. And that's really what we see with this product. It's all natural, and it's going to help with that natural energy and mental clarity and focus. So I absolutely love that product. And then last year, towards the end of the year, we came out with a hair care system. And we came out with this, and it's based off of the same NRF2 principles, but it's designed to be clean. You know, our body and our skin, we absorb a lot of different things. And when you think about over the course of a lifetime, how much shampoo and conditioner that we're putting onto our head on an almost daily basis, if not daily, you know, how much of the toxins that are in that shampoo or that conditioner are getting inside of your bloodstream and having wreaking havoc on your body and your health. So this True Science skincare or hair care system is designed to be a clean formula. It doesn't have those nasty ingredients that a lot of people's typical shampoo and conditioners have, and it's formulated again with that NRF2 technology. Here's some before and afters with that as well. You can see on the left, we have a guy that we actually know from the South. This was October and December. Just look at the fullness of the hair inside there. Obviously, it's longer, but look at the difference in just how full it is as well. And then the girl on the right, she actually had this product and was able to try it out months before that it was released. And this is what happened with her. And she was dealing with different issues with her scalp. But you can see before and then 2 weeks and 2 months. But can you imagine the difference that made in this girl's life and just her confidence of having her hair start to become more healthy and get rid of some of the problems that she was facing before that. Here's a couple more before and afters. And then Pet Tandem. This is really NRF2 for animals. And we used to, when we first got started, there was only the flagship product, Pro Tandem NRF2, and we had a lot of people around here that were giving these product or that product to their dogs. They wouldn't spend the money to improve their own health, but they were giving it to their dog. And we had person after person after person telling us, you know, the difference that it was making in their dog's health. We had some people telling us about their hunting dogs, their bird dogs, labs, that they hadn't been able to jump up in their truck for years, and now all of a sudden they were in and out of their truck like a pup again. And to me, that was concrete evidence, because the dog doesn't know a placebo effect. It doesn't know if you're giving it a treat or you're giving it Pro Tandem, right? And so if there was something that was changing physiologically about the dog and its mobility, you know, there was absolutely, in my mind, something happening to that dog's health. And it wasn't that placebo effect. And so with that information, those anecdotal stories that we're getting back to the company, they specifically formulated a product just for animals, specifically for dogs. But we see all kinds of animals receiving this. And there hasn't been any animals ever tested that are mammals that they don't have the same benefits of lowering the oxidative stress inside of their body. And that's what I love about these products, is it's backed by true science. Now, you might be thinking to yourself at this point, okay, I want to get started. I want to integrate this into my health strategy. How do I get started? To me, that basic baseline of biohacking your body starts in the middle there with that Vitality Stack. For $5 a day, you're going to get the NRF2 to reduce the oxidative stress inside of your body. NRF1, increase the mitochondria and the health of the mitochondria. That fish oil, and then also that probiotic with the BioTrack delivery system. And that includes free shipping with it. The skincare line there is on the left, and the hair care system on the right. Axial I would throw in there absolutely as well too. But I want to take a few minutes, because there's also a business side to this. And I just want to give you enough information that you can make the decision if this is for you or not. Because in any business, I don't care what product or service or industry it is, new technologies, new products, they go through what's called an S-curve. And that's what I have on the screen right now. And I think truly that we're still at that early phase of people starting to upregulate and downregulate their genes. But I think in 5 years from now, the conversation isn't going to be, have you heard about activating your genes or upregulating or downregulating genes? It's going to be, how are you doing it? And we have a huge head start of anybody in that industry. And liken it to like the iPhone, you guys. The iPhone's been around for about 10 years, almost 11 years now. And at the very beginning, the iPhone 1, people didn't understand smartphone technology. Even the iPhone 2 and 3, that was really the innovators and early adopters that were starting to integrate that into their daily practice. But about the iPhone 4, Apple in that technology started to blow up. And now we're sitting at the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X 10 years in, and people around the world understand smartphone technology, especially that product that Apple has. And I think that's where we're sitting, is right before this explosive growth curve in upregulating and downregulating genes. And again, I don't think that people want to do that through pharmaceutical or through drugs. You know, drugs have side effects. They have interactions with other things. And when you can take natural approaches to get even better results, I think people are going to be really attracted to that. But I can tell you, going all over the world doing this at this point in my life, there isn't one place I've ever set foot in where you could go outside and randomly ask 100 people if they know about NRF2 or if they know about Axia or if they know about LifeVantage, and they'd be like, oh yeah, we know all about that, and the majority of people do. Right now, you'd be lucky if you found one or two random people that understand these different pathways, even medical professionals, you guys. And so my big thing with network marketing was I had a negative connotation attached to it. I didn't have a reason for that, but I did. And what I didn't understand was there was actual money that you could make doing a business like that and sharing it with other people. And when my wife and I are passionate about things or products or experiences that we've had, we naturally share it with other people. Now, our joke to ourselves was, yeah, if we're successful network marketers, we'll get a $20 check and we'll go get a Redbox movie and a bottle of wine. Well, little did we know that when we started to treat it like a business, you guys, this is one of the most amazing business models that is out there. And what I have on the screen right now is the income disclosure summary, and it shows you the ranks from Pro 1 to Pro 10, what the average person is making on a monthly basis. So Pro 1 is $80, Pro 2, $260, Pro 3, $580. To me, that's our part-time income, right? $80, $260, $580. When I managed the defaulted student loan portfolio, I understood this, is that 80% of all bankruptcies in the United States could be avoided with an extra couple $100s a month. So you can't tell me there's not a lot of people out there that are looking or searching for a way to improve their income by a couple extra $100s a month. And if it isn't you, I promise you have friends or family that are going to bed tonight praying for something to change. And then at the ranks of Pro 4 and 5, $1,200, $2,500 a month. That's supplemental income. Like, look at the baby boomers, right? They're coming up to retire, and it's not the same environment that it was 30, 40 years ago where they had pensions waiting for them and they had employers that were going to take care of them when they retired. And Social Security is surely not going to pay enough, and we know the average American hasn't saved enough to retire. And so what are their choices? They either continue to work or they live off of less income. So if we can roadmap out for people how to earn $1,200, $2,500 a month, that's a big deal. And then Pro 6, Pro 7, $6,000, $11,000 a month. You guys, from Pro 5 to Pro 7, somewhere in there, most Americans, that would replace their entire household income. In a matter of 9 months, I was able to walk away from the corporate world and do this full time with Michelle because we had reached those ranks and we were able to replace my income. And it just blows my mind even today thinking about that decision that we made 8 years ago. And then look at the ranks of like Pro 8, 9, and 10, 20, 40, $100,000 a month. I wouldn't have believed that if somebody would have told me that. But I can tell you there's people that we know at every single one of those levels. And it's real. And when it's done right with the right people and the right products, it truly is one of the most amazing ways to do business. And I want to ask you this, because I think that shift that's not only happening on people being more proactive about their health, we're seeing a huge shift in the marketplace of how business is done. What's been the biggest disruptor in the marketplace in the last decade? It's Amazon, right? Brick and mortar stores are evaporating faster than ever. And as a financial analyst in the past and a portfolio manager, I can tell you, people with their security licenses 15 years ago would have been shocked and wouldn't have believed you if you would have said in 2018, places like Toys R Us would go bankrupt. And it wasn't because people are buying less toys, it's they're buying them differently. There were more toys bought last year than ever before, but where are people getting them? Well, the biggest place right here in the US is probably Amazon, right? And what is Amazon? Amazon's simply a bunch of distribution centers that are set up to ship product directly from the distribution center to somebody's house. And that's exactly what we do. We're just positioned in the marketplace of nutraceuticals and upregulating and downregulating genes. That's our specialty. And so I love that we're positioned in two major shifts that are happening in the world. So I want you to ask yourself, what if the information that you heard tonight was true? What if you took the chance and the risk of doing something different, even though it might be a little bit scary? How could that impact or change your life? Well, on the business side, you guys, there's a couple different ways that you can get involved. I'm not going to go over the compensation plan. There's videos out there that we can send you if you want in-depth information. I think more important, it was going over the potential of what this business can be. And if you're like me, you might be Rolodexing in your head different people that have to hear this information. And one of the coolest things about network marketing, you guys, is that this is not a business you do by yourself. When Michelle and I got involved 8 years ago, we didn't know the first thing about network marketing. We didn't know the first thing about nutraceuticals, but what we did know was this, is that if somebody else had a roadmap to get from A to Z, if we followed the roadmap like they had done and they had proven to work, we could generate the same results. And that's what we did. We learned the business as we went. And this is a business that is designed to have success off of helping other people be successful. Unlike the corporate world, you guys, where I was always paid more money to separate myself from everybody else, you do not get where you want to get within this business without helping a ton of people along the way. And I love that. Now, 90% of our business is customer focused and customer based. And I love that for the simple fact that if you don't see the business vision like we see it, don't do it. I think it's an absolute no-brainer when you understand the science and how you can impact your overall health with these products. It's a no-brainer you're going to integrate them into your health strategy. It's just a matter of how. And then that 10% of people that see the business vision like I see it and see where it's heading over the next 5 years, there's 3 different ways that you can get started. There's the silver pack that's $350, the gold pack that's $650, and the platinum pack's $1,250. I'm telling you, if I had to sign up again tomorrow, I would absolutely do the platinum pack. And the person that invited you onto the call, they can go over the different benefits of these and the whys behind it. But I'm telling you, what I've seen over and over and over again in business is people with skin in the game treat it more like a business. And when you treat a business like a business, it's going to generate results like that. If you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get results like you're treating it like a hobby. But that's the cool thing with this is we're there to help and we're there to guide you and to make the right choice for you. Now, you're going to fall into, at this point in time, one of 3 different categories, okay? The information, you heard it, and it wasn't for you, okay? And if it's not for you, all that I would ask is that if something changes down the road, just get back with the person that first introduced this to you and just let them know. Something changed, hey, now I'm interested. Or maybe every couple of months, maybe every 4 or 5 months, we just update you on where the company's at today. Because it's really transformed even over the last 8 years that I've been involved. And it's going to continue to have different transformations. And then if you have questions, let us know what those questions are. I'm a completely open book, you guys. Get back with the person and let them know what those questions are, whether it's on the products or the science or the business side of it. I'll contend all day long that the American Heart Association is a much more reliable resource for me to send you to than Google University, where you might run into a blogger who doesn't have the faintest idea of what they're talking about. So let us get you in touch with the real answers and the real science behind what we're talking about and the real answers on the business side of what network marketing is and what it isn't. And then if you're excited to get started right away, just let us know what that is. Is it as a consumer of the products and just integrate it into your health strategy? Or do you want to lock arms and change the world with us? Because I'm telling you this, we're not slowing down anytime soon. And I'm more excited today than we were 8 years ago when we first got involved. Because I see the writing on the wall of what's going to happen over the next 3 to 5 years. And it's not a matter of if in my mind it's going to happen. It's how soon it happens and how fast we get to that momentum phase within this kind of niche area. So with that, I appreciate it. I know you could be a lot of different places, but get back to the person that introduced this to you tonight and let them know where you stand. Let us know how we can help. Let us know how we can get you started. We're here to help. We're here to change the world. Have a great night. Appreciate you.